Yeah, welcome to Bratislava, here from this wonderful town of Slovak Republic at 30 years of celebration. It broke away from the Czechs in 92 and it turned into a role model for all of Europe in 98 with the election of Mr. Dzurinda and then his Minister of Finance Ivan Miklos, and they have really transformed this country with several important policies. First of all, they were possible to include them in the 2004 NATO and enlargement round. This was decisive, of course, but then they were the only one in the Visegrad countries to join the Eurozone. That was also very transformative. And of course, they adopted the low flat tax of 19%. Today, they have a two-tax tier system. That means 15 and 21 for the corporation and 19 and 25 for income tax. That's not perfect, but that's much better than Italy, Austria and Germany, of course, and the rest of Western Europe. And I now change a little bit my line politically because I was always for tax competition, but now I'm for a unified tax system in all the European Union and the enlargement countries. That means 15% flat tax. I want 15% income tax flat and 15% corporation tax. And if you want to redistribute or eat the rich, you are anyhow in the wrong channel. But we can also tax 15% of wealth increase. It's not a problem to have a wealth tax of 15%, but to have one rate of all income and of all income, corporate wealth, and whatever the income, 15% for the state, less exemptions, less corruption, more compliance, less collusion, less crime, and a better, fairer economy with more economic growth. This is what Europe needs because we have to outperform Russia and the rest of the world with low taxation. That's the way. The enormous growth rate of Slovakia, Romania, Bulgaria and Eastern Europe and the Baltics have shown that. We didn't have so good success in Poland or in other countries, especially in Western Europe. And it's not that the euro is low growth. It's combined. We need, of course, a stable currency, the euro for everybody. We need a growth-oriented economic model that's low taxation. Taxation is the most important. The euro brings down the interest rates, and of course, the next important next to the interest rates is the tax rates. So 15% tax rate is good, and it raises enough. You have a 20% VAT system that raises a lot. And you basically do less exemptions, make a less complicated tax system, make a fairer collection, easier collection. You have more understanding of paying taxes and more compliance, and that's also very important. So that's the Slovak model, which I'm advocating now. Everybody in Eastern Europe who is in the EU or candidate country in the euro, or at least pegged now, and then to adopt the euro, and then 15% flat tax. Of course, we can make an exemption for the candidate countries of 10%, like we have it in Bulgaria, and we have also 10% income tax now in Romania. That's very good, yeah. But for the countries in the EU, I think 15% is fair, and we also don't have different corporation tax levels in the United States, and we have to transform into one state, the European Union. Ultimately a state union like the United States. Yeah. Of course, there will be always differences, but the main thing, we should not unfairly compete with each other. So one tax level, corporation tax 15, 10% only for accession countries. In the moment of accession, they change to 15. And also one for income tax levels, because you can do your socialist redistribution with other people's money anyhow in the welfare system. But you don't have to burden too much the people who are performing, because they anyhow, if they have a high income, they pay much more taxes, because 15% from a lot is still a lot. And then you have a much more fairer, transparent, and most of all, honest system, which is also extremely important in order to build it. And we're not competing between each other, we are competing with China and with Russia and with the rest of the world, and we are competing with our friends based on fair trade agreements. That is FTAs, we call it in future fair trade agreements, and that's a mutually agreed agreement with Mercosur, with America, and with everybody else who is in goodwill. And we embargo Russia, we don't buy anything from them, and also we will dismantle them they will dismantle themselves, and we will support them. And there will be many new countries like the Slovak Republic, like Kosovo, like Montenegro. There will be new countries, and they will work very well, and they will be wonderful countries after time. It will take some time. It will be another 30 years of complicated transition in the post-Russian area into 36 new countries, but they will come. And the Slovak success model is a very good role model. Stable currency, pact, and then the euro, and then of course NATO and EU security, not for all of them, but at least partnership with NATO, and that is also possible for many, and if not most of the successor countries of Russia after the defeat. Now the focus for 2023 is of course the defeat of Russia, and of course the support for Ukraine. Slovakia does here a lot, but you should also recognize Kosovo, you should also support Austria and NATO, you should break with Russia, and of course criticize and isolate pro-Russian Hungary. And of course that's not so easy for Slovakia, but I think that's, after all the things you have managed to do since '98, this is really the agenda for victory, for success, for prosperity. And then also we need a 2 trillion debt deal on the European level, and that's what I'm advocating as an answer to the Russian war. But this one, of course, devoted for the reconstruction of Ukraine and the infrastructure connectivity between Mariupol and Munich. And here Slovakia plays a key role, also Hungary, also Poland. But you know, the key is we have to have really fast trains towards Mariupol and Kiev, high-speed highways which are European highways, and of course energy interconnectivity, and all the Danube, of course, the Danube interconnectivity. Here, massive investment in Eastern Europe has to take place in terms of a huge funded, EU-funded project, because otherwise we have only fast-speed trains inside the rich countries, and the rest is slow, and we are not interconnected. And the historical coincidence of the borders in Europe, and they should not be changed. But we have to overcome them by a customs union, internal market, a common currency, and a common infrastructure funding. And this is expensive, but it's also a very good investment, because it's not wasted money. It builds railways, it builds energy infrastructure, a river infrastructure, inland waterway infrastructure on the Dnieper, and as well one day Belarus will join, and we will have Eastern European water ring. We will have the whole infrastructure of energy Europeanized, and we can also have effectively decoupling us completely from Russia by the end of 2023. And we will be very successful if we are more united, and we will. And the success of Slovakia is a proof for the role model, and I hope that the Poles and the Czechs and the Hungarians and the Romanians will come to reason. We will all be in Schengen and all in the Eurozone, obviously, and it makes much more sense than going it alone. Same is true for Ukraine. I have proposed already the opening of the labor market for all the EU candidate countries. I have proposed also the euro for all EU candidate countries, the EU customs union for all EU candidate countries, a common labor market, the customs union, the energy market, and the common infrastructure funding, because obviously we cannot, not all countries, only the NATO countries can be politically in the EU fast, but they can be economically in the European Union very fast. That we can achieve. And then Albania, Macedonia, Montenegro can be also politically in the EU, and the rest can already now in the next 2 years be economically with the euro, labor market, customs union, Schengen status, association status to Schengen for all the EU candidate countries. And of course the common bond market, the euro bonds, 2 trillion to fund victory, the rearmament and reconstruction of Ukraine, and integration of Ukraine in the EU and in NATO, and of course the building of a strong wall against Russia and the disaster of the East. Good, I think I'm extremely logically. I will go back to Vienna now on the slow train which Mrs. Gewessler, the enemy of infrastructure Eastern Europe, is allowing, and I will criticize her hard for that, and I will continue to do that in the coming days. And please support this channel, subscribe, and celebrate with me the success of Slovakia. Congratulations for the 30 years. Bye.